And the Dolphins sit here in an interesting position. A lot of people like them to actually trade away that pick.
I almost mocked a trade with Miami here. You will see what team is traded here in a couple of picks. I almost mocked a trade for the Dolphins because I think that makes sense. I think their biggest need is still at guard. I don't think Isaiah Wynn or Will Hernandez or James Daniels is worth taking at number 11 overall. So instead, you can go ahead and trade down, get some more picks, get a guard as well. Or, as it happened to work out in this one, how about Roquan Smith? I think his size could drop him a little bit, and I think in general, you're going to see a couple of defensive players fall way beyond what they should because you're going to have 4 quarterbacks at least go in the top 5. That could benefit a team like Miami. They get Smith. You pair him with Raekwon McMillan. That's a good 1-2 punch at linebacker. You can move on from Kiko Alonso in the near future. That gives you the type of linebacker you want for your defense on a front 7, by the way, that is very much being rebuilt as well.
All right, so there's Roquan Smith at number 11 overall to the Miami Dolphins. Let's go to number 12 now, and hey, the New York Giants are popping up here because of that trade.
We'll get to the trade here very quickly as well. Here's the one we did earlier in the draft. We'll get that pulled up here for you. Number 12 overall pick for the Giants gets shipped out along with number 22. That goes to New York here. The Bills get the number 2 overall pick. The Giants get a whole bunch of selections here in general. So in reality, the Giants are now on the clock. It's in terms of this projected trade. So with the Giants, you move down. I don't think that they like Lamar Jackson, so they're not going to go quarterback here. You're looking for a couple different needs. Offensive line is a big area for the Giants. You're also looking, I think, at edge rusher to replace Jason Pierre-Paul, and there just so happens to be a really good one for the Giants. I am a big fan of Harold Landry. I think I was a little too low on him before the pre-draft process and early in this offseason. I went back and watched more of the 2016 film. He was hurt this year. That's why the numbers weren't there. He's got the bend you want. He's a good athlete. I think he'll thrive as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think him in New York is a really good fit.
Like that. Yep, Harold Landry there. At number 12 to go to the New York Giants. Let's stay in the NFC East as we check in with number 13 overall and the Washington Redskins. And it's quite obvious, Tom, that the big-time need for the Washington Redskins is the interior of that defense. They have hosted some players, some defensive tackles of late that are coming over from free agency.
Yeah, that's a big focal point for them. I don't think they're going to get Jonathan Hankins. If that's the case, they're still going to look for a defensive lineman. I think guard makes sense for the Redskins. I would not rule out Darius Geis either. I think this is around the Geis range, but instead, I'll go defense as we continue that theme of defensive picks. Been quite a few in a row now. How about Vita Vea? This is one of my guys this year. He is a true 3-down nose guard. He's big enough to hold up defenders in the run game, but he's also quick enough and disruptive enough to get into the backfield and make plays. He is a rare athlete for his size. I like him a lot. I think he'd be a great fit for the Redskins, who, by the way, had the NFL's worst run defense last year. That was a big issue for Washington. Vita Vea helped solve that problem.
All right, so Vita Vea going to the Redskins at number 13. Let's go to number 14 now. We got the Green Bay Packers selecting, and the Packers have actually been pretty darn active for Packers consideration so far in free agency, Tom. What do they do in the draft?
Couple different areas I think the Packers will target. Edge rusher makes a lot of sense for them. Offensive guard, I think, is around. We're getting into that Isaiah Wynn, Will Hernandez range. Yes, they picked up Tramon Williams. I'm not going to rule out corner. I think this might be the floor for Denzel Ward. If he's on the board, I don't know if Green Bay is going to pass on him. I'm also not going to rule out wide receiver. Yes, they have Devontae Adams. We know they like to spend picks on receiver. I think round 2, round 3 here might be a better option as well. With Green Bay, however, I'm going Marcus Davenport. They need another edge rusher. They need more help there. Nick Perry can't stay healthy. Clay Matthews is aging. Davenport gives them that edge rusher. He's a little athletic. He's still a bit raw, but the upside is definitely there for Marcus Davenport. I think it makes quite a bit of sense for Green Bay if he's still on the board.
All right, folks, so there's Marcus Davenport going to the Green Bay Packers at number 14 overall. You're watching NFL Daily here, presented by Autolist. Head on to Autolist.com. Get that new or used car shopping done in a flash. Many thanks to them for sponsoring NFL Daily here today. All right, let's continue along here in our mock draft. So the Arizona Cardinals are selecting number 15 overall in the draft. Tom, Is that correct, or do we have a little trade alert?
Well, we got a little bit of trade alert here, so we'll get to that here in just a second here. Well, so the Cowboys have traded up here in the end. This is one of the trades that I am projecting. We'll get those details up here in just a second here for the Dallas Cowboys. I think they are targeting some defensive help. So here's the deal with Arizona. Number 19 overall and a third-round pick goes to Arizona. Number 15 overall comes the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're looking defense if they move up. Yes, Calvin Ridley's on the board. The Cowboys have focused on offense and free agency outside of adding Joe Thomas. No, not that one, the other Joe Thomas. So these are the trade details for the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to target defense. Vita Vea off the board. They're not going to trade up for Daron Payne. The top linebackers off the board as well for the Cowboys. Instead, I am looking at safety, and there's one really good player left here for the Dallas Cowboys, and that is Derwin James. I think Cowboys fans want him. I've seen that quite a bit on the Cowboys report here. He doesn't have a true position yet. He's not really a true free safety. It's not the role he played last year for FSU, but he can most certainly be that guy. And I think for the Cowboys, you take him, there's your impact safety. It ends up being cheaper in reality than going up and getting Earl Thomas instead. I love the addition of Derwin James. I think you see the Cowboys in general with 10 picks and not that many roster spots available. The Cowboys will be aggressive. If they see Derwin James fall, once you get to pick 11, 12, 13, even 10, they're going to start making calls. They're going to try and go up and get their safety of the future. Haven't always valued the spot quite as highly, but Derwin James, I think, is that impact that they haven't really had. Really, maybe a couple years of Roy Williams, maybe Darren Woodson, if you want to go even further back.
All right, so there you go. Derwin James to the Dallas Cowboys at number 15 overall, thanks to that trade with the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go to number 16 overall. The Baltimore Ravens have needs on the offensive line as well as at wide receiver. Could look to the defense inside linebacker as well. Where do the Ravens go?
I still think receiver makes sense for them because, yes, they picked up Crabtree and John Brown. Brown's there for 1 year. He's more or less your Brashad Perryman replacement. I think Baltimore needs more offensive guys. I think Calvin really still makes sense for Baltimore. Crabtree, Brown, and Ridley, I think, is a very strong 1-2-3 punch at wide receiver, something that the Ravens really just have not had of late. It's been a big problem for them. I know you're not a huge fan of this one, Cam, but it does help out Joe Flacco, which he desperately needs.
Of course, Michael Crabtree coming on over. You got John Brown as well. But, yeah, the Ravens certainly need help in terms of passing attack ability. Calvin Ridley going to the Baltimore Ravens at 16. Let's go to number 17 overall, the Los Angeles Chargers. They have the edge rusher duo. They have the secondary. They need the interior of that defense.
I think that particularly now that you have the suspension of Corey Luigitt for 4 games, defense tackle becomes a big need for LA. If they lose Trey Boston, this, I think, becomes the floor for Derwin James. Well, that's why the Cowboys, I had them trading up to get in front of them. So when I look here at the LA Chargers, I think Mo Hurst is such a perfect fit for this team. You put him as a disruptive 3 technique, essentially replaces Luigitt. You've got Ingram, Bosa, and Hurst. Hurst can get the one-on-one matchups that he thrives against. He continues to be that disruptive player for LA that he was at Michigan. I think this is a great fit and good news for Hurst. He was cleared following a concerning heart condition at the Combine. He is going to be good to go. Of course, you could see some teams still not medically clear him, even though he has been cleared by other doctors outside of the Combine.
All right, so there's Maurice Hurst going number 17 overall to the Los Angeles Chargers. Cam Rogers here alongside Tom Downey. This is NFL Daily presented by Autolist. Mock Draft Monday here, selecting number 18 overall. We've got the Seattle Seahawks here, Tom, and give us the diagnosis of what their needs are.
Well, they most certainly need some offensive line help, although knowing Seattle, they're not going to focus on it because that's just never what they do. Tight end is also a need. Yeah, they got Ed Dixon. We'll see how long he's there. Cornerback, I think they can survive that right now. This actually might be a bigger need for Seattle than maybe number 5. Maybe it's actually even higher because Sherman's gone, Sheed is gone, Jeremy Lane is gone. It's, I do like Griffin, the kid from last year at a UCF. They need more help here, and there happens to be a guy that I think is a great fit for Seattle and Joshua Jackson. I think I've cursed my number 1 cornerback pre-combine. Each year, they have not run as fast as they were supposed to. It was Tease Tabor last year, didn't have a great run this year. But Josh Jackson, I think, fits that role for Seattle. He can be your outside corner. He's still kind of undeveloped as a quarterback. Has some technique issues, needs to add some weight to his frame, but he's long, he's lanky. I think he can play physical based on that length, needs to add some weight, though. And he has the ball skills that you want. 8 interceptions, 18 pass breakups. I'll take it. Like, you give me that every single year, heck, even half of that, you give me 4 interceptions each year, I'm going to be really excited. I think Jackson fits what Seattle wants to do, and God knows they don't value offensive linemen.
Well, certainly a prototypical Seattle Seahawk corner there. Joshua Jackson out of Iowa going to Seattle. Let's go to number 19 overall now. Would have been the Dallas Cowboys, but thanks to that trade.
Trades are fun.
We've got the Arizona Cardinals here, Tom.
So Cardinals trade down. I don't think that they want Lamar Jackson. I think they're going to target wide receiver and cornerback in particular. And if that's the case with the way the draft is breaking down, they can afford to wait. Yeah, they missed out on Jackson and Ridley. I still think that they're in okay shape there. I am really concerned about their wide receiver core because they've got, for starters, Larry Fitzgerald. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Chad Williams, I don't like that much. J.J. Nelson, Britton Goldman's a free agent. He's not any good anyway. They need a wide receiver. They can go get a big body guy in Courtland Sutton, who had such an incredible three-cone drill, you would have never thought he's 6'3". Like, his three-cone drill was slot receiver type numbers. Instead, he's a big guy. He's still raw. Route running in particular, he just kind of gets by with being a good athlete. Got the great size you want, though. I think he could, by the way, legitimately be the first receiver off the board, and it wouldn't surprise me all that much.
Okay.
Because Sutton has, I think, maybe some higher upside than Ridley, even though he is not the same player right now. Ridley's more polished. Sutton has more upside.
So there's Courtland Sutton going number 19 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go to the 20s now. We have the Detroit Lions. So for Detroit, you can make the argument defensive tackle. Maybe you go running back. What do you make of the Lions here?
I would have had Darius Geis here, but they went out and they ended up picking up LeGarrette Blount, so I think they can wait around and maybe try and hope Amir Abdul develops a little bit more. Tight end still an option, but Lions fans, I'm not going to play you like that. I'm not going to mock a tight end because I know you guys can't handle that from a mental side of things. Edge makes sense because Ziggy Ansah has 1 year for sure. Might not be there beyond that. I'm looking, though, at offensive line. Assuming you kick Graham Gask out inside to play center, now you need a new guard. I think Isaiah Wynn can be that guy for you.
Good player.
Has played left tackle at Georgia, and he kicks inside to guard. I think he is a reliable player. This is a great range for him to go off the board. I like the fit. I think it fills a need as well for the Detroit Lions.
All right, so there is Isaiah Wynn going to the Detroit Lions at number 20 overall. Selecting number 21 overall, of course, will be the Cincinnati Bengals. But before we get there, let's summarize Tom Downey's mock draft so far. All right, so 1 through 4 we go. Cleveland Browns have Sam Darnold, Bills, Josh Rosen via a trade, Josh Allen to the Jets, Bradley Chubb, number 4 to the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield, then Quentin Nelson, followed by Saquon Barkley, Tremaine Edmonds to the Bears there, 49ers all the way down to the Giants, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Denzel Ward, Roquan Smith, and Harold Landry. 13 through 16 here. We got Vita Vea, Marcus Davenport, Derwin James to the Cowboys, Calvin Ridley to the Baltimore Ravens, and then 17 through 20, we've got Maurice Hurst, Joshua Jackson to the Seattle Seahawks, Courtland Sutton to the Arizona Cardinals, and then Isaiah Wynn to the Detroit Lions. Friendly reminder that we are indeed presented by Autolist. Head on to Autolist.com to get that car shopping done in a flash. I'm telling you, it is going to save you so much time. Autolist.com is the way to go.